What's up, boys and girls? Back again. I guess these are gonna start becoming like a common theme. I don't know if anybody's watching them. You guys like them? Cool. If not, whatever. Maybe it'll spark some creativity or some ideas or other things in your mind. This was a thought that came to mind the other day for me, so I thought I'd just make a quick video about it. And basically, it's should you get your kids into Warhammer? The whole idea started. Oh, by the way, look, new haircut. Yeah, I was listening to this podcast called Garage Hammer, I think it's what it's called. I don't quite remember. I just started listening to it, but he was talking about how his daughter got so stoked about his models, and she like totally freaked out whenever he sold all of his orcs, and she was like crying, and like he had to go buy her a bunch of new ones so she could paint them herself and stuff like that and have her own army. And he was talking about how his kids played with him, and then so that's what kind of sparked this idea. And then me and my girlfriend are taking steps, and eventually, we're gonna get married, and then eventually one day we're gonna have kids. And I was like, dude, are my kids gonna play Warhammer? So and absolutely yes is the answer to that. That's for sure. Sorry, Erica, there's no choice in the matter. I think it's a fantastic idea to have your kids play Warhammer. One thing that I don't advise, maybe like wait till they're 13 to 15 years old, maybe, because one, the rule set is, except for Age of Sigmar, it's becoming more simplified, but the rules are more simplified now, but they still are complicated, that is for sure. So I'll wait till they're a little bit older, and not to mention some of the material is kind of graphic or kind of dark, so you definitely want to be careful on what you're exposing them to, whether it be too early or not early enough or whatever. Or if you expose them to something, make sure that they have an understanding of it, so that they don't go, shooting their mouth off at school or something like that, talking about slaughtering people with a chainsword, and their teacher's like freaking out, So, but yeah, so I think it's a good idea to have your kids play Warhammer, because if you can get them involved, it allows you to do quite a few things with them. One, this allows an interaction between the two of you. So it allows you to share a common interest, which I think is one thing that parents are kind of losing nowadays, especially with like kids being so stuck into video games and things like that. I know for me personally, sitting down and playing a video game for hours on end is obnoxious. Like, I'll sit and play Battlefleet Gothic, and I'll play through 2 battles, which is roughly about 30 minutes. And I'll pretty much be done for like a week. Really, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, and I know some people are bigger gamers and stuff like that out there, but I can't just sit and play all the time. So with this, it gives a more structured environment for the parents to be in, that allows them to interact with their kids, which is definitely something important, because interacting with your kids gives them that sense of security and fulfillment, and they have that self-confidence boost and stuff like that kids obviously need. So you're spending more time with your kids. Second thing, you're teaching your kids to be patient. It takes a lot of time, work, effort, skill, and it's a gradual over time thing that your kids are going to have to learn if they want to have halfway decent armies. And this is another reason why I'd say I'd wait till they're a little older so they can grasp this concept, and so that they can focus on it. You don't want them sloppily throwing it together and not being proud of it. And so I would, like I said, wait till they're older, but it kind of gives them like a sense of pride in what they have, especially like if they buy it on their own. Now, if you're like buying it for them, they won't appreciate it as much. Some people disagree with that, but I absolutely totally agree with that, because I mean, even just going through high school, the kids who parents or what do you know, family friends or grandparents or whatever that bought them everything, they never really appreciated it. Me, my car, I treated it, like it was the golden goose. And, my parents, yes, they did help me a little bit. But for the most part, I came up with a good portion of the money for my first car. So your kids will appreciate it more if they have to buy it themselves, if they're interested enough. So it'll give your kids a sense of accomplishment whenever they finish things, a sense of pride. It'll establish a friends group. Now, granted, you kind of have to be careful. Warhammer and fantasy games and things along those lines do attract some odd ducks. So you do kind of have to be careful. What is that glare from? So you do have to be careful. You really do. But monitor that closely, obviously. But this kind of gives you it tends to be, until they're a little older, safer youth group to hang out with. These kids are going to be more concerned with buying Warhammer models and potentially not as concerned with, drinking and drugs and getting into trouble like that, if they're actually interested in playing in the game, because the game does take up a lot of your time. I mean, if they're consistently painting or they're going to the local shop and playing, you kind of know where they're at, or you know what friend's house they're at and they're playing. So that's kind of one thing that could help you out, most definitely. So it gives you guys something to interact on, sense of accomplishment, gives them the self-esteem, that gives them the patience. This is awesome, because if your kid's doing this and not sitting in front of the TV, I mean, you're just one step ahead of the game. Because, this kind of teaches them to find other things and hobbies to do outside of just watching TV. A lot of articles on a lot of magazines and stuff like that. Like I'm subscribed to Money Magazine. I read an article about how much more money people make and how much more experienced they are, like in financial security and things like that. If you don't watch TV, as in compared to people who watch TV more than they focus on like reading or staying. Sorry, this is just driving me nuts. There's some sort of weird glare on there. Or something. They're just more creative. They're more adventurous and less prone to just sit and do nothing. So I definitely think that it's a positive learning experience for your kids, because they're learning to develop a hobby and find a passion about something that they enjoy. So yeah, most definitely. Let's see, what else? Is there anything else? So it helps them develop a social group. They can hang out with you and enjoy the hobby with you. They're not going to have any money because they're going to be spending it all on Warhammer. It develops, cognitive skills, things like that, where you're having to paint and focus on very small things. It definitely allows for some creativity, especially if they get into more of the modeling aspect of it. Like if they're converting, or they're creating scenery, or they're creating like a cinematic like effect for their models where they're set up and hanging out. Yeah, so I definitely think that it's a good idea to get your kids into Warhammer. And I think kind of the earlier on, the more impressionable they are, because they want to impress you, they want you to like them. They're not as independent. So yes, it is. So if you can like leave out some of the fluff, but just introduce the game and introduce the fluff and stuff later on, that's cool. Like if you're wanting to protect them from some of like the gore and other stuff like that. But and so they might be not as impressionable at 13 because they're not going to want to do the things you're doing. But I definitely think that if you establish something that you both enjoy doing, like a father and a son who like to fish together, if you teach them young, they're probably going to want to fish with you all the time throughout their teenage years and stuff like that. So anyways, it was just an idea I had. pre-write anything for this. It was just off the top of my head. If you guys had any other comments to add for the video, yeah, go ahead and just write down below. Just poke those in there, and yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed sitting and talking with Sid Paint and Play today, and I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend. I've been posting videos like freaking crazy lately, and I need to stop because I'm gonna run out of content before like the end of next year. I've like covered everything by then. So anyways, thank God this hobby's huge. Anyways, you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you later. Shit.